Ron Jaworski, set to join us here to give us his opinion on how this all happened, bros. How did this all go down? What was the deal as the Eagles trade Carson Wentz today in exchange for a 2021 pick in the third round this year and a 2022 pick in the second round next year that could become a first-round pick? So did the Eagles get enough? How did we get to this spot? We'll bring Ron Jaworski in, of course, a legendary member of the Philadelphia Eagles organization, doing plenty of things now in the area. RonJaworskiGolf.com. He's got 7 signature courses in South Jersey and the greater Philadelphia area. And one guy who might not be playing on those courses anytime soon, Ron, will be Carson Wentz. He's moving to Indianapolis. How did we get here? How did this happen?
Well, first of all, Mike and Hunter, I think Blue Heron Pines will be open this weekend, so
nice.
We may get some golf in this weekend if this snow melts. But anyway, we'll get to the important news right now. And obviously, Carson Wentz has been dealt to the Indianapolis Colts, and all in all, probably a win for Carson Wentz. Although I think Howie Roseman did a good job of salvaging what was a bad deal here in Philadelphia with Carson Wentz.
So we get to this point. How do you get to a point where you have to trade your franchise quarterback? How does it get to the point where the organization has to come to terms with he doesn't want to be a part of our organization anymore?
You know, I think in time we will find out the real reasons why. I think up until this point, it's been a lot of speculation on, why this marriage went south when, in the first 4 years of his career, it looked like a quarterback that was going to be our starter and proficient player for another 10 years, and it fell apart. And Carson is not a bad quarterback. He had a bad year. There is absolutely no doubt of that, no question of that. But clearly, I think he does have substantial talent and ability. I think from Carson's perspective, the relationship he developed with Frank Reich when he was here was very important to him. They got along very well. As this dragged on, it appeared there was really only one landing spot for Carson Wentz, and that was Indianapolis, and he was going to not accept a trade anywhere else, particularly Chicago, where he was being talked about as a potential trading partner with. He ended up with a good team, and by the way, this is a good team in Indianapolis with a very solid offensive line, 3 number 1 draft choices on the O-line, a second-round pick, and a 4th-round free agent from Seattle. So it's certainly a team that will protect the quarterback, and it's exactly what Carson Wentz needs. But it is kind of amazing when you just think of where this team has fallen so fast, and in this pandemic era, which I have a hard time holding people accountable for things because of the way we've had to live for the last 10 months. And we look at Doug Peterson gone, our quarterback for the next decade gone, salary cap hits, dead money. A team that really is in free fall right now, and it's an amazing situation that the Eagles are in right now. One that certainly I wouldn't have expected a year ago.
Were you shocked that the only team in it was the Colts? I mean, look, Carson Wentz obviously had a bad season last year, but if you look at the track record, other than the downfall last season, he has that skill set. We all know that he played at an MVP level. It's in there. So to see only the Colts, does that surprise you?
Yeah, to a certain degree it does, but then again, that's the market. You would think there's still a need with some teams at the quarterback position, but I also am well aware that this is going to be a very deep draft at the quarterback position. I'm looking at 4, maybe 5 possible first-round draft choices. So I think teams look at that as well. They say, do we want to inherit a guy that has a $100 million contract, just under $100 million for the next 4 years? Obviously, they have to pay a $10 million bonus next month. So I think when teams weigh everything in, there was a deflated market for Carson Wentz, and clearly, I think that played into the fact that the Eagles couldn't get to a number 1 guaranteed. Now, if Carson plays 75% of the plays, or 70% and the Colts go to the playoffs, the Eagles will get a first-round pick, but it's a contingency. So really the Eagles, what they know they're going to get is a second and a third rounder. So the market didn't bear much more than that. Despite Howie Roseman's hard work trying to drive the market up, he could not create a market.
I think it was last week that you reported that you had heard 2 second-round picks. Did you ultimately think that getting the third and the second next year with a possibility of first, that they ended up getting enough in this deal?
Yeah, it was kind of a trade-off rather than number one right up front. The 2 became a 1, and that eliminated the second-round pick and potentially another third-round pick. And like everyone else, I've been around the NFL since 1973, and I have people in front offices and coaching staffs that, I get pretty valid information from. And I'm not saying I'm right or I'm wrong, but it's something that that there are people I know I can trust. And I did know that a first-round draft choice was not being offered. There were a number of different ways to go second or third round, but a first-rounder wasn't in the offering. Who knows what could have, that's why I said I think Howie did a good job of at least getting a chance for that second-round pick to become a first-round pick, and that makes it a salvageable deal for the Eagles in regards to player procurement. So I trust my sources, and I go with what I believe is the correct story based on what I hear.
What do you think is the best option moving forward at the quarterback position? You have Jalen Hurts. You're drafting 6, which you're not accustomed to being this high. Is there any quarterback that intrigues you that you think maybe taking that 6 overall pick on them is worth it?
Yeah, I haven't really drilled down in my tape study of the quarterbacks out there, but I think clearly Trevor Lawrence is the guy that I'd love to have, but he's going to be in Jacksonville. I think when you start looking at the rest of the quarterbacks, like I said, and there are 4 or 5 that are going to go in the first round, or our first-round talents. That doesn't mean they always go in the first round. But I think it's going to be, what do the teams like? Do the Eagles want to go for a draft another quarterback? Jalen Hurts is there. I like what I saw in Jalen Hurts last year. I like what I saw him at his college tape at Oklahoma and Alabama. He's a very talented guy. But clearly, 4 games of some meaningless football late in the season, I just can't say, yeah, that's going to be my guy, and we're going to pass on some of these quarterbacks with a big upside. I personally, I'm just not at that place. Maybe the Eagles, after they do their evaluations, will be at that place, and they will make quarterback a priority in this draft. But I think it's still too early to forecast, what the Eagles are going to do.
Ron Jaworski is with us, and of course, the Eagles trade their franchise quarterback today. I mean, when you look back at this, is this an organizational failure? Did they let him down? Did they it just ran its course? I mean, how do we look back at all of this, the fact that Carson Wentz is not here anymore?
Well, I started saying it at the end of last season when the changes were being made at quarterback and all the problems that were going on with the team, and 4-11-1, that it was an organizational failure. This team, 3 years removed from hoisting the Vince Lombardi Trophy, to be in this position right now is unacceptable. I know Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman, and they're not happy campers right now. In fact, they're as angry as the Philadelphia fan base that we've gotten to this point. We talked about the gold standard and, being multiple Super Bowl winners and, all the things that everyone felt good about this team, and to be in this position 3 years later is just unacceptable. And I know the Eagles front office feels that way. The fans feel that way. But, based on what we're seeing right now, we're going to be hurt by the salary cap. The cap is going down from $200 million to $180 million. So you really can't reward players that deserve raises. You can't go in the free agency market. We're taking a hit from the dead money of over $30 million. So this is going to be, and Jeffrey Lurie said it himself, it's a rebuild program right now. And who would have thought that 3 years ago when the Vince Lombardi Trophy was being paraded around Philadelphia?
Nope, bonkers, crazy. I can't believe it's gotten to this crazy day. Ron Jaworski,
right.
Kind enough to jump on board with us. We know it's busy and there's a lot going on. And, of course, as you mentioned, hopefully the weather gets a little nicer. Maybe I can pop out to Ron Jaworski's, one of his seven signature golf courses right here in the South Jersey, greater Philadelphia area. And, by the way, don't forget, one membership gets you access to all 7. Check out more at ronjaworskigolf.com. Are we supposed to get nice weather this weekend? Can I get out there?
No, the snow is going to be gone, but next week I saw in the 50s, guys. So I will see you at 7 Tap Tavern at Blue Heron Pines if I'm not on the golf course.
All right, Jaws. It's good to catch up with you.
All right. Thank you, guys. Be safe.